let's introduce you to the new man on the stage, Mr. Üllar Jaaksoo, and we go as practical as possible with the next presentation. Mr. Üllar Jaaksoo is the founder and CEO of Green Energy, who was just mentioned recently, the second company that the fund has actually invested in. Mr. Jaaksoo will share his first-hand experience and offer valuable tips on securing the investment from the fund. Mr. Jaaksoo, pleased to see you again, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start my presentation. My name is Üllar Jaaksoo, the CEO of Green Energy Data Centers, and in less than 20 minutes, I will give you some learnings, some insights, and also some failures we made during the process. The key story, it starts from the deep belief that we can actually live in much more greener world than we live today. What I mean by that, as a universe, we are very, very hungry. We are a data-hungry society. What do I mean by that? If you take just 1 minute of the internet, you will see how many tweets, emails, likes, swipes we do there. And if all the prognoses are correct, then we're going to produce just in 5 years more than 200 million DVDs of data per year. I remember DVDs. They used to be very, very heavy data carriers. But this data hungriness comes together with more and more hungriness on top of that. And with that, we're going to generate a world where in the last 10 years, we have created 5,000% growth of data. And currently, we have more bytes in our real universe than there are stars in the observable universe. This volume requires energy. We are using constantly more and more energy. If you look at the figures for the energy consumption during the last 50 years, we have grown almost 5 times. But at the same time, the prognosis for the next 5 to 10 years show that in the field of the ICT, in the field of the connectivity and data centers, this growth will be specifically fast. And this green part of the right side column will show you that the increase of the energy is substantial there. But can we avoid the digital infrastructure? Definitely not. It is our daily fun, it's our daily communication, socializing tool, but it's also the tool to have a better green vision and green future for us. What do I mean by that? Because of the digital infrastructure, we can actually increase our productivity, what actually saves some part of the world. We can have much smarter connectivity, less paper, less transactions, but also we can have the reliability secured. If you bet so much on the digital infrastructure, we better make sure it is as secure as possible. But also, the sustainability could be improved with the help of digital infrastructure, because the data are the source of learning where we do mistakes, where we spend too much, and also the data is the core source for forecasting the future and our future needs. And to match the future needs gives us back the connectivity, reliability, and productivity. Therefore, data is the new green. If you're looking for the source, how to get more greener, make wiser use of data. If you want to do that, then maybe we can actually endlessly enjoy moments like this, catching the fish from the fresh sea, one of the 3 seas of this region, or cooking that outside with the friends and enjoying the clean food, clean nature, and the strong friendships. This is the beginning of the G story, but now going more practical. Our ambition at the Green Energy Data Centers is to relieve the hunger for the energy efficient and sustainable data centers in the Central and Eastern Europe. This is a quite ambition, and we have to plan it step by step. We have to move with the very practical steps forward. Why this region? This region is absolutely perfectly positioned to be the champion of the smart connectivity. In order to confirm that, let me give you a few examples. Growth. Growth in this region is definitely faster than in the neighboring countries, in the older Europe. We have seen that during the last 20 years, and definitely we will see it in the next 10 to 20 years as well. Cross-border connectivity of the systems, services, business relations is required, is a must, because none of those countries is large enough to be focused only in internal needs. Therefore, any country in this region needs to cooperate with others and have actually strong dependencies from the neighbors. The green vision This is actually agreed. All those countries in this region are members of the EU, and they are sharing the values to achieve those climate goals what we have been agreed on the EU level. And also, this territory is a greenfield territory. What it means, there is a lot of opportunity for new investments and for many, many investors to look at this region. I think it's now the first time when we see this region branding itself, structuring itself as a one region, and that makes this region even more attractive, both for the investors but also for entrepreneurs, because you can easier manage your processes under the same system of values. What is our action? As I said, we're going to build the data center facilities in CE, and with that we're going to lay the ground for the smart connectivity. Our first step is the purpose-built, modern, modular, and the green data center in the Baltics, the region of 3 countries. That's how it looks. This is currently under construction. We have finished the main construction part. We are currently installing all the technical system, and then the hard work of commissioning starts, where all the steps and all the elements implemented needs to also be checked and verified in order to host the highest standards possible who will be our customers, whether they will be from the national government's defense industry or the big players from the hyperscalers. We are ready to host any level of that. What is the size of this data center? Few boring figures. The campus we have built is actually up to 32 megawatts, what is by far the largest capacity available in this region for one data center campus. The first facility you just recently saw in the picture, this is up to 6.7 megawatts. How much is it? Let's say in this territory, in this country, in Estonia, the current largest is probably close to 1.5. We are actually building the facility 4 times, even 5 times at the size of the current largest. How many space there will be? The first facility is 14,500 square meters, but this campus is ready to host 2 more facilities at the same size, growing together with our customers up to 42,000 square meters. And starting from the capacity of 40,000 servers, close to 1,000 plus racks, it enables us to grow with our customers over the next 10 to 15 years 3 times. Basically, partnering with this data center, every customer, public or private, can ensure that actually they're going to enjoy this secure system with their growth up to 2 to 3 times. And this is a match with the perspective of the data growth at every business. Quality, level 3 security, reliability, and also up to level 4. There is no currently every level 4 facilities in this territory. Definitely full infrastructure redundancy. Connectivity, we are absolutely carrier and cloud neutral. Our business is to serve the special facility and enable all the telecom companies and connectivity providers to compete for the service to serve the customers who are going to be hosted there. The most important number for us as a company is the power utilization efficiency, the PUE, what is 1.2. What it means is that if the current industry rate is 1.7, 1.8, then if 1 unit is used for the calculations for the servers, then the rest of used to maintain these servers, cool and to maintain them secure. We would don't want to spend more than 20% on the top of the valuable energy, and that will be 2-3 times less than the current historic systems. And also, we would like to use only green energy, and this is luckily available here in Estonia and in the Baltics. And also the waste heat is planned to be reused, making that a most effective green data center in the region. Compliance, very short numbers, but behind every number there is a very specific set of quality standards and the process standards we need to apply for. I think for us also important is the new code of conduct for the data centers with energy efficiency targets in the EU, but we're also going to apply. Value proposition, we serve co-location services, private suites, data vaults. We serve all sectors of the society. We are going to build up the list of the value-added services, but also it will be the home for the ecosystem of that environment in the region. collecting together the players of that segment and enabling them to share the experiences. Also, we would like to be the home of clouds. Nowadays, every IT infrastructure requires the mix of the enterprise solutions and cloud solutions, but also the cyber security. We cannot forget about it, and hopefully our home will be the home enabling discussions around it and putting more effort on top of that as well. And our first priority region is definitely Estonia and Baltics. Then we're going to focus on the CE, but those houses are ready to host our customers from the Europe and the rest of the world who needs to get closer to their customers in our region. So, value proposition, smart, secure, sustainable, and future-proof. With us, yours probably have the smallest possible ecological footprint and the highest reliability. Now to the investment. What do we make to get the investments from the funds, especially maybe even from this fund? And here I'm going to share with you a few insights and maybe even a few of my own mistakes during this process. Hopefully you can avoid them those. Why we decided at all to partner with the 3C Initiative Investment Fund? In order to realize your ambition, your vision have to have some courage, some vision, and some resources. And if you're going to look for the investor, then make sure that you find a fund who actually has the same courage, the same vision, and same resources. Deal match on the at least 5 most important components was actually a really good one. Territory is a perfect match. Industry-wise, there is also match. Know-how, especially the post-deal process has proven to me that it's a perfect match as well. We have received a lot of valuable advice and support from the investment partner. Deal size, this fund enables actually to launch very ambitious projects with very high tickets, and this is also a match for us. And the investment period, such a capital intense projects, they need longer periods than 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, even 10 to 15 years, because that's the valuable lifetime of those assets. And this is also a match for us. That was a very good reason to start to work with the 3C Initiative Investment Fund. How does the process look like? Let me start from the few things what it doesn't look like. It's definitely not a loan. It's definitely not a grant or subsidy. If you think about the EU structural money, then very often those terms get mixed, but it's not the administrative process. It's a proper hard work and money talks, private equity valuation process. You must be ready to match all the requirements of any private investor. As it was said many times during the previous presentations, both by Mr. Tiit and Kevin Tate, it's a politically inspired, yes, but it's commercially driven. First steps for me, before even starting this journey, was I started to think as an investor, because without thinking of that, you cannot attract them, and you have to think big. Small projects are not valuable because the administrative cost to go through the pipeline, analyze all the cases, analyze all the risks, make the deal to happen requires a substantial amount of money, and with the small cases, the investment case becomes negative. It must be a real size project. And you have to build an invincible company spirit. The spirit you're going to need through the process of getting this investment, but also the getting the investment to work under the capital expenditure time, but also getting the spirit ready to host finally the customers and all the business difficulties you're going to match. And you have to start rather with consultations. Don't start immediately with negotiations, because during the consultations, it's much easier to correct your plans, your estimations, and your initial thoughts, because this is the partner model you're going to create. It's not going to be a trade model. And also try to meet personally, despite the COVID-19. I know it sounds not easy, but that's definitely required input, I would say. But then the process is nothing very different from the very typical private equity process. You go through all those 9 to 10 steps. In my presentation, I will focus on 3 of those, where I think the risk of failure is the highest for the entrepreneur. And let me give a few tips for that as well. Letter of intent, that's the beginning of the cost phase, where after that, both parties will start the hard work and deploy the teams to go through all the details. You negotiate the purchase price, but respect the risk. the risk what will be taken by your investment partner is as high as your risk, and therefore you have to give a fair value for that. Also, post-capitalization structure, be creative on that. Try to find solution for every risk type in your capital structure as well. Time needed to provide binding offer, be conservative. Don't underestimate the time there is needed. Plan reasonable time for that. Fund experience and expertise, just be open to that. You have to know what you're doing, but you also have to be able to learn and correct. Value creation strategy, for me, I think that's the most fundamental to agree, and that moment of the process, because that is something against which what you're going to compare all the red flags, all the findings, all the issues, that the fundamental value creation strategy will not be heard. And also compatibility with the team. There has to be a human chemistry and trust. Without that, no partnership will survive. Operating model, this you need to know by heart, but it has to be very highly detailed revenue and cost breakdown model. And this is something what you have to also fight for in all difficult moments. It has to give a clear picture for all decision makers. Make sure that you benchmark your model against the best practices in the industry. Don't aim anything lower. Investment decision, I think that's the final most important step in your process before all the hard work of closing. It's you have to learn this process very well. You have to know how it's done by your partner, and you have to make an effort to build your own fan club as well at the other side of the negotiations, because without internal fans, nobody's going to fight for a case. You probably will drop to the lost deals category. Innovation, that will make the difference. Your company business plan and your way of operating should make some innovation as well, because that's what will differentiate you and will inspire. And be ready for multiple rounds of the investment decision. Don't give up from the first answer. And be a true entrepreneur in that sense. Inspire everyone to continue to work hardly on the find solution. Learnings. Be patient. Process is the process, can't be avoided. I know many entrepreneurs, especially from the startup industry, they would like to move in the speed of the fast train. But here, it's a good train. It ends to the destination, but you have to give the time for that. Be also persistent. It means the focus on the vision, never lose it from your sight, and every other aspect just tie to that, and many questions will be solved with help of that. But also be proactive. Don't be on the last seat of the car. Try to hold the wheel and lead the process and make sure that everybody contributes as a first priority to this project, to this investment analysis. That's the main topic of that. And to summarize my insights and my learnings, you only need one idea to get the investment. You probably need to work through 100 models to find the right one. Most probably need to know by heart at least 1,000 details of these models to be able to answer to any questions what any member of the team could ask you. Probably have to spend before that around 10,000 hours in this industry to learn all the tricks and failures. And you have to aim at least for 1 billion of money to be made in the end as a value of the company. If you manage to go through all those insights and these numbers, you are probably on the right track, and your ability to get the investment is rather high, I would say. Finally, why we do that? 2 fields, 1 brown, 1 green, both of them needed for us to currently. But investments you're going to ask are probably get more attention if they're going to move from the brown field to the green field, in the both meanings. Green field, it means the new investments, new infrastructure build, but also having more impact on our climate and giving us better, greener vision. And in order to do that, in every aspect of your model, of your operation, please insert into the smallest chip of your operation the green thinking, the green mode, the green KPI, the green action plan, the green value into it. Maybe then one day, once we are all done that, we can enjoy those kind of pictures for a longer period. Like in old days, just go to the forest, pick up the berry, and never think of that. Was there too many cars driving by passing it, or were too many planes flying over it, or somebody dropped some bad chemicals around it? Just enjoying the clean nature based on that. Thank you very much. That was my presentation, my insights, and hope it was helpful. And please contact me. I have more insights one-to-one.